Can military come into your church and tell you, oh, you can't jiggle your booty like that when you shout? No. Can the president come into your church and tell you, Pastor, you sound good and everything, but you can't be hollering, you can't be no. All right, guys, so today I wanted to kind of do a different format and wanted to do a bit of a deep dive. Man, it's like the freaking Wild Wild West out here. It's just a lot going on as it relates to the church and politics. Primarily Christianity. I'm sure there may be some other divisiveness or divisiveness, however you say it, going on with other religions, but I'm primarily seeing this as it relates to Christianity. So I wanted to talk about what I feel is a very foundational error and is a cause for a lot of the tension that we're seeing today between the church and politics. I really just want to talk, and like we could share opinions and agree to disagree, or agree or disagree. It doesn't matter. So if you've been to church on a Sunday, especially now since election is coming up, I'm sure you've probably heard, or if you watched online, you've seen plenty pastors just kind of spew and bark at their members about who they should be voting for, whether they're doing it covertly or overtly. It's like this tone about who it is you should be voting for versus like the actual gospel of Christ.
You can get out, you baby butchering election thief. You cannot be a Christian and vote Democrat in this nation.
And the reason they're doing it is because they truly believe in their minds that the church should be governing the country. And it's a very weird idea. I think it's pretty dangerous idea, but it's just not the case that America is just this Christian nation and that God, belongs in politics and that the church controls the way that the country should run. And so I just wanted to kind of debunk that and talk about it. Let's talk first of all about, the founding fathers. We'll just start there. Okay. I did some digging and I was like, okay, were they, because they keep talking about America is a Christian nation, or America is a Christian nation, and our founding fathers were Christians and they believed this and that. And I'm like, that's not what I see. So I'm gonna just go down a few people a few of the founding fathers that I actually looked into, and they were quite interesting. George Washington. So I would say he was probably the most devout of all of them, if you were to call somebody a Christian. So he was a devout evangelical. He belonged to the Church of England. This was the established church in Virginia at the time, the Church of England. So there was like this universal church. But George Washington, he did something that a lot of preachers would not do today, or pastors. He attended services at other churches, other denominations, other religions. He wrote something that I thought was really good. He said he hoped that Christians of all denominations would reconcile their differences and not endanger the peace of society. That is a big statement. So basically he's saying if y'all can't get it together, if y'all continue to be divisive like this, it's going to endanger the peace, our peace of the whole country. He also believed that people from other parts of the world with different religions should be welcomed in America. Okay, so if different people from different religions should be welcomed in America, that means that America is not going to be based on one religion. Sounds like religious freedom to me. Moving on, let's talk about Thomas Jefferson. Thomas Jefferson, he practiced what's called deism, okay? He was very, very liberal, right? He valued reasoning over revelation. What that sound like to you? Not a Christian. He rejected traditional Christian doctrines like the virgin birth. He did not believe in the virgin birth. He didn't believe in original sin, and he did not believe in the resurrection of Jesus. Any Christian today will call that man an atheist. Like, ain't no way you're going to be welcome in a Christian community and you don't believe in sin, the virgin birth, and the resurrection of Jesus. So he practiced deism, but he was also a Unitarianism. He was a theist as well. His theism rejected the Trinity, and some considered him a Unitarian because he rejected the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, right? He called it Greek arithmetic and Platonic mysticism. That is another video for another day. He also refused to be a godfather at Anglican and Episcopal baptisms in Virginia. So Thomas Jefferson was not no Christian, as we would call it today. All right. Benjamin Franklin. These guys were very, very interesting to me because it's just so crazy how we just believe whatever we're told to believe, but you do your digging and you do your studying on your own, and then you find out it's like complete opposite of what these pastors be talking about. Benjamin Franklin, he was also a deist. He believed that God created the universe but remained separate from it. Interesting. His religious views were complex, and he also displayed other beliefs. Sounds like he was a free spirit to me. All right, it says that Franklin is considered to have pioneered a unique American faith that emphasized the importance of living a life of love and significance. What? A life of love and significance? Okay, all right, I rock with it. James Madison. All right, James Madison believed that religion was a matter of individual conscience, and that the government should not interfere with religious beliefs. I agree. He argued that the government should not establish a national religion or abridge the civil rights of any religious groups. So basically, the government should not be saying, oh, we practice this, but at the same time, everybody should be able to, have their own religious freedoms. Sounds wonderful. Madison believed that religion should flourish without the aid of government. He believed that the government should not interfere with religion and that religion should not be written into governance, right? So my thing is, where are the pastors getting this information? And this is a very serious question. When you guys and women say that we need to get back to America being a Christian nation, and when you're barking at your congregation, where are you getting this information? And I would go so far to say, even if, let's say, all of them did practice, were Christians, practice Christianity, how were they Christian? How was America a Christian nation when most of these founding fathers owned slaves? Not all of them. They owned a ton of slaves. Like, how Christ-like is that? How Christ-like is it to beat, I can't say that on YouTube, essay, murder? How is that Christ-like? This is not a rhetorical question. Please answer this in the comment section for me. So then later I was thinking like, okay, well, the Pledge of Allegiance says one nation under God. So America must have, at one point been a Christian nation. No. The Pledge of Allegiance. Let's talk about Pledge of Allegiance. All right. It pays to just do your own studying and research. I swear. The Pledge of Allegiance. All right. Pledge of Allegiance was written in August 1892 by the socialist minister Francis Bellamy. A socialist minister created the Pledge of Allegiance. Listen to this. It was originally published in the Youth's Companion on September 8th, 1892. Bellamy had hoped that the pledge would be used by citizens in any country. So the Pledge of Allegiance was meant to be this universal pledge that any country could adopt. So what happened? Okay, actually, let me read what it said. This is the original form of the original Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to my flag and the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Don't that sound a little bit different from the Pledge of Allegiance that we know today? So again, what happened? All right, let's find out what happened. In 1923, the words "the flag of the United States of America" were added. So at this time, now it's reading, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, it changed, but what's missing? It's one thing that's missing from how we know it today. So even as it stands, as it currently reads, it still has the original intent that Minister Francis Bellamy came up with. He wanted all countries to be able to use it, right? Any citizen in any country. But in 1954, listen at this. In response to the communist threat of the times, President Eisenhower encouraged Congress to add the words "under God," creating the 31 pledge we say today. Bellamy's daughter objected to the alteration, but today it reads, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That was never the intent. Because of threats, President Eisenhower changed it. Bellamy's daughter was like, no, I don't want this change. This was not the original intent. It was never supposed to read this way. Okay? Oh man, I'm telling you, this is some good stuff. All right, so that's the Pledge of Allegiance. All right, I was like, all right, got it. America still is not a Christian nation. So now I'm at the point where I'm just like, all right, they just made this up. I don't know where they got this from. It's just in their minds. They've been brainwashed. I don't know. And so I was like, okay, maybe they just don't understand government. Like, I understand government. I understand how government works in various countries, but maybe they just don't understand that. And so government, it's created, it's designed, it's a construct. Okay, different countries decide which way that they want to create their government. Some governments are dictatorships. Some are monarchies. Some are democracy. Like we have a democracy where we, the people, where the leaders essentially work for the people. Okay, we, the people, kind of control the way things work in a sense. Of course, you can do your own studying on how the U.S. government works, but essentially, the government is a construct. It's designed. And so I wanted to look up the actual word govern and give you the definition. So to govern is to conduct the policy, the actions, and the affairs of a state, an organization, or people. Okay, so our government, of course, in the First Amendment included things like freedom of religion, right? But with that freedom of religion, the government said that it cannot establish a central religion. I'm paraphrasing. You can go read the Constitution in your own time. So before the Constitution was even written or ratified, there were states that had already made the decision that religious freedom should be a thing and that religion should not be this universal idea or this concept that everybody should, be Christian. So they were very much for religious freedom. States like, I think Rhode Island was the first state, and then it was Pennsylvania, and then I don't know them in order, but I know New Jersey was one. And these states just started to model states like Pennsylvania. And so Virginia was an interesting one. Actually, let me talk about Virginia right quick. And you can read Virginia's movement towards religious freedom. It's an article. So they were trying to model how Pennsylvania had already established religious freedom. Thomas Jefferson, James Madison, they were all for it, right? This dates back to like 1776. But Patrick Henry, okay, he wanted to tax people in order to support Christian teachings. In 1779, the assembly, they thought about it, but they rejected this bill that Henry had put out there that would have had Christianity as this established religion. And they wanted to like tax people for being able to support Christian teachers to be able to teach this Christian gospel as the central belief system. But they opposed it. It never happened. So boom, still America was never a Christian nation. But that was the state of Virginia. All right, let's move on. So getting back to government. Okay, sorry, I got ADHD. I'll be all over the place. Getting back to government. The word itself says who should be in control or who's conducting policy, actions, affairs of states, of countries, of people, of organizations, right? So I feel the fundamental error is where pastors believe that the church governs the country. And I want you to think how wild this is. That one type of religion, sometimes it's one denomination within a group, feels that their religion should control the entire United States. They feel they govern the country. And this is the error, because you do govern something. I'm talking to pastors and leaders in the Christian community. Pastors, you do govern. You govern the four walls of your church. You govern how your organization is ran. Okay, let's talk about church government for a minute. So if you let's just use the Christian traditional church government looks kind of like this. You have a senior pastor, you have associate pastors, you have ministers, you have deacons, you have worship leaders, you have musicians, it's kind of like this hierarchy. And then some denominations, I don't even know, like Kojic, it's like 1,000 different levels. And if you don't give honor to each one, I heard you get in trouble or something like that. I don't know. I'm not here to bash no organization, but actually, no. Get back to the point. Yeah. So there's like this hierarchy in the church where the leaders do indeed design government. So they decide based on the denomination, based on your religion, how the church will be governed. Okay. Now listen to this. If the government has said that they have no dealings, they want no dealings with your religious beliefs, the way that you choose to worship, they want you to have religious freedom, they want you to have rights, they want you to do what you do in the name of whatever religion it is that you do it in, what on earth makes you think you have the right to govern the government? What makes you think you get to dictate how the government is ran? The government has said they don't want no dealings with you, but you want to have dealings with them. That's not fair. Think about it. That's not fair. Churches do not get to govern anybody else outside of their church. And that is that's a hard, I think, pill to swallow, because a lot of pastors have it twisted and they feel like because they believe what they believe, they now have this authority to go out and make everybody else, or enforce this religion on everybody else. And it just does not work like that. You do have authority. You have a limited authority, man or a woman of God. You have a very limited authority, and it is within the four walls that you lead, and that should be enough. That should be okay. I want y'all to think about this, church leaders. I mean, very serious. Can a cop? I'll just use a cop. Can a cop come into your church and tell you that you can't shout like that? No. Can a military come into your church and tell you, oh, you can't jiggle your booty like that when you shout? No. Can the president come into your church and tell you, Pastor, you sound good and everything, but you can't be hollering, you can't be no. You would be like, you have lost your mind because you don't have no authority over this house, right? How is it different? How is it any different when it comes to you believing that you have authority and governance over other people who are not in your congregation, or other people who do not believe like you? I just want to challenge your thoughts. So then it led me to the question of, okay, if the church is feeling this way, did something happen? Like, really, is this a serious grievance? Is this a serious burden? Is this a serious cry and issue? Or what? And so I thought about, some of the issues, the two main things that I hear all the time when it comes to Christianity and politics. And I was like, okay, do these issues affect the church in some way? And those two issues, of course, everybody knows, is LGBTQ plus community and abortion. Like, oh my gosh. I know y'all about sick of it, because I'm sick of it. But, okay, I wanted to just kind of ask the question, like, okay, being that LGBTQ plus, the community now has rights, freedoms, how does this now affect the church? Like, truly, what is your issue, Christian community, with the LGBTQ plus community having freedoms and rights? Think about it before you answer the question, because I want to hear the real issue, okay? What is the real argument? Because when you read the Constitution, when you read, the decisions of the Supreme Court, and you read all these things, and you're like, okay, well, the church isn't required to marry. No church is required to marry a gay couple. What's the problem? And then I read somewhere where they were like, well, what if you're a cake baker and you don't want to bake a cake for LGBTQ plus person or a gay person or a bi person or whatever. And I was like, okay, let me think about it. Is baking this cake going to cause you to lose your ability to worship freely? Like, did it take something away from you to bake a cake? Are you participating in the homosexuality? Are you participating in their activities? Are you in a threesome with them? Like, truly, how is this affecting you? And people are like, well, it affects my conscience because I don't believe I don't believe that two people of the same sex should be married. Okay, can you still have that belief and bake that cake? I don't know. I guess let me not say I don't know, because I too struggled with this, but in a different example. My issue when I was staunch, and I mean by the book, baby. My issue, I was a real estate agent for 10 years. And there was one time I was like, "Ooh, what am I gonna do if a gay couple wants to buy a house?" I'm like, "Oh shoot, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that because of my convictions." And then I was like, "Wait a minute, is it truly my convictions? Like, is showing this couple a house? This couple is in need of a home. Is that stopping me from practicing Christianity? Am I gonna be laid up in the house with them? How is this affecting my religious freedom? When I show them this house, when they close on this house, I get my check. Can I then go and freely worship God? If the answer is yes, what is the problem? That is a real question. I would love to hear the answers on that one. I would love to, because the crazy thing is, let's use the baker example again. If a baker doesn't want to bake the cake because the couple is gay or whatever, let's say another couple comes in, and this couple, the man, or no, I ain't gonna say the man, I ain't just gonna, let's say the woman, she a whole liar. She just lie all the time. She do all the things. But are you gonna still bake the cake? Probably. What if you knew she was a liar? You gonna bake the cake? Probably. I think we gotta challenge certain things. Like, just take some time to like really think. And if this is still an issue for you, then it is what it is. I'm not here to take away nobody's convictions or, what they feel is wrong, but I don't know. That's a touchy one. But guys, I'm going to stop this here because I know I've been doing a lot of rambling and this is very different from my usual format, but I want to hear your thoughts. Is America a Christian nation? Should church be involved in politics, or should leaders just be preaching the gospel of Jesus Christ? The crazy thing is, the gospel of Jesus Christ seems to be like really simple. It's like Jesus died, Jesus rose, Jesus loves you, Jesus can save you. And y'all in the church over the pulpit preaching everything else, and y'all making y'all job real hard. Like, stay out of y'all members' business like that. We have the right as citizens, we have a right and a duty to vote. Let people vote. I would love it if pastors would have the ability to just come out and say, listen, we understand politics is how our nation is ran. Guys, do your research and vote for the best candidate that you feel can do the job. Why is it so hard for pastors to say that? I challenge every pastor. Sunday, instead of spewing all of this stuff, spewing your opinion, spewing this misinformation, challenge your members to research. Challenge your members to go on the candidates' websites, view their policies, and choose the best policies for them. Or just preach the gospel. That way y'all won't be stressed out. That way y'all won't be carrying these like false burdens of, pastoring is just so hard and I'm carrying a burden of my people, because you too into your people's lives and business. Let people do what they're going to do. And you just preach the book. Preach the book. The book is the book is kind of, but preach the book, because that's what y'all believe. All right. Until the next time, guys, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you on the next one.